So last week, a founder slid into my DMs, proper panicking. He just hired a full-time CTO for 200k plus 3% equity. 3 months in, CTO has built essentially nothing. Endless architecture diagrams, a big chat about scalability. The founder asked me, have I just thrown 200k down the drain? And I kind of had to say, yeah, you kind of have. Here's the thing. Most founders think they need a full-time CTO from day one. It's what everyone tells you. You need a technical co-founder, hire a CTO early. But that advice is costing startups hundreds of thousands of pounds. And I'm going to show you exactly when you need a full-time CTO and when a fractional one, like me, is a smarter move. Because I've been on both sides. I've built as a full-time CTO, I've scaled to 7 figures, and now I work fractional across multiple startups. I'm going to give you the real playbook that no one else is giving. Let's get into it. Right, so let me break down what actually happens when you hire a full-time CTO too early. First, the numbers. A senior CTO in 26, you're looking at 150 to 250k base. And benefits, stock options, usually 1 to 3% in equity. And suddenly you're at 300k in total comp per year. And now, here's what founders don't clock. You're not just paying for their time, you're paying for their perspective. And if that perspective is not right, then they over-engineer everything. They choose the wrong tech stack because they want to big themselves up with the latest framework. You're stuck because firing a CTO 3 months in is kind of messy. It's expensive. You've burned 6 months and 100k and nothing to show. I've watched this happen more times than I can remember. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most startups don't need a full-time CTO. They need strategic technical leadership for maybe 10 to 20 hours a month. You need someone who can choose the right stack, vet developers, review code, architecture, keep your product roadmap on track, and handle questions from investors. You do not need someone sitting in Zoom calls 40 hours a week, heated debates about tab space indentation. Everyone hires full-time anyway. Why? Because that's what VCs say. That's what accelerators preach. Get a technical co-founder. Okay, great. But what if you can't find one? Or what if the one you find is a bit, well, not great? Alright, here's where the fractional makes sense, and I'm not just saying this because it's my bread and butter, I'm saying it because I've lived both sides. Fractional, you're paying 150 to 350 an hour or a monthly retainer up to about 5k, 6k. Sometimes there's a small equity component, but nowhere near what a full-time one demands. Let me do the math for you. A full-time CTO, 300k a year plus 2% equity. Fractional, 50k a year plus 0.5% equity. That's 200k difference. So what do you actually get with fractional? You get a senior level strategy without the overhead. You're not paying someone to sit in every stand-up meeting nodding along. Should we build the in-house or integrate API? Is our developer telling us the truth about this timeline? What is the right tech stack for our specific business model? And here's the bit that people sleep on. Because I work across multiple companies, I see patterns that you don't. I know what works at 100k ARR versus 1 mil. I've seen it already. I've seen them make the mistakes. In pattern matching across 5 to 6 startups at any given moment, you get the benefit of all of that without paying 40 hours of my week. And crucially, you stay lean. You need someone who says, build this in 2 weeks with Next.js and Supabase. Validate it, and then we'll have the scaling conversation. Now look, I'm not here to tell you fractional is always the answer. There's absolutely a time when you need a full-time CTO. Let me tell you exactly when that is. Signal number 1, you've hit consistent revenue and product market fit. If you're doing 1 mil ARR and growing, you need someone full-time managing your engineering team, infrastructure, security, and all of that. Fractional can't carry that at scale. Simple as. Signal 2, you've got a team of 5 or more engineers. We've got 5 developers, you need someone managing them daily. Code reviews, architecture decisions, one-to-ones. Fractional roles work a treat when you've got 1 or 2 contract developers, but 5, you need someone properly in the trenches. Signal 3, your product is the technology. If you're building AI infrastructure, deep tech, or hardcore SaaS with complex algorithms, you probably need a full-time technical leadership from the jump. No debate. But if you're building a marketplace, productivity tool, a standard SaaS tool, you don't need full-time until you've proven a business actually works. And here's what no one tells you. You can start fractional and move full-time later. I've done this with clients, come in fractional, help them build the foundation, get to product market fit, scale to 500k, and then help them find their full-time CTO. I can interview candidates, vet them, all of that. Then transition out. That's the move. You don't go 0 to full-time CTO on day one. That's how you burn 300k and have nothing but Notion docs to show for it. Real talk, let me give you the red flags, both from hiring full-time and the wrong CTO. Full-time CTO red flags. They want to rebuild everything from scratch. That's ego talking, not strategy. They're chatting more about architecture than customers. And they want to hire a massive team immediately. You don't need 10 engineers pre-revenue, you need 2 really good ones. Fractional red flags. They're trying to juggle 20 clients at once. You'll never hear from them when it matters. I cap myself at 5 to 6 clients max. They've got no skin in the game and they won't take a small equity stake. If they're recommending the same stack to everyone, they're not thinking, they're just talking. And look, I'll be straight with you. There are some dodgy fractional CTOs out there. People will collect retainers and go ghost. That's not it. You want someone who's actually been in the arena, scaled companies, who's taken the L's and learned from them. That's what you're really paying for, experience, not just a warm body with availability. So here's where I land on this. If you're a pre-revenue, pre-product or pre-market fit, you're bootstrapping, keeping it tight, start with fractional. Get strategic guidance you need without the 300k commitment. Validate your idea, build your MVP, find your first 100 customers. Then, when you've proven the model, when you're scaling, when the revenue's there to back it, hire full time. That's the smart play. That's how you avoid doing 300k on a decision you weren't ready for. And if you want to talk it through, link in the bio for a 15-minute strategy call, no sales pitch, just real advice from somebody who's been through it more times than I can count. Don't make the 300k mistake. Make the smart play. See you on the next one.